Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Bitcoin hit a milestone of $100,000 on Wednesday night, marking a significant moment in its growth. The cryptocurrency has risen over 30% since U.S. Election Day, driven by factors like the increasing adoption of Bitcoin ETFs, clearer U.S. regulations, and support from Wall Street, with excitement also being fueled by Donald Trump's stance on crypto. Bitcoin's market cap now places it amongst the world's largest assets. Let's find out a little bit more. We go to Brady Dale, a cryptocurrency reporter over at Axios, also the author of the book SBF. Remember Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, How the FTX Bankruptcy Unwound Crypto's Very Bad Good Guy. Brady, welcome back to the program.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Listen, Brady, did I miss out? Have we all missed out? All of us here who don't own a single Bitcoin, and we're seeing the guy with the Maserati with the vanity plate that says crypto bro, and we're going, my goodness, should have bought some crypto earlier. Have we missed out?
Well, I mean, I try not to get in the realm of financial advice, but, if you imagine that Bitcoin is still now largely a speculative asset. I mean, people do really use it. It is functionally a part of some people's lives, but for most people, it's just an alternative way of saving money. So if we've gotten this far at that stage, if you imagine it really becomes a part of the global economy someday, it has much further to go. But, who knows if that'll happen.
Yeah, and on the who knows, right? Like on who knows. Is there also a timeline here where Bitcoin crashes to $1,000? I'm trying to figure out just how speculative we're talking about. How would you describe, crypto and Bitcoin?
I don't want to eat my words here, but among the scenarios in the world that I think are possible, Bitcoin losing 99% of its value, I don't see that happening. I think what I've watched in the years I've covered this is with each big cycle, Bitcoin collects kind of permanent converts. And that's why each time it crashes after a bull run, it never falls below the prior high. And what that says to me is there's people who are just in it for good, and that number of people keeps growing. So I can't imagine it goes that far. Actually, what I'm interested in, Elias, is we'll probably have a big bull run. It'll probably go up really high. People will probably get too excited again, and then there will be a big crash. However, if that crash doesn't fall like 80% as it has all those other crashes, if, say, it falls like 50%, then we'll know that something really has changed for good. And that's possible because the really big money's in Bitcoin now.
You said the really big money's in Bitcoin right now? What do you mean by that?
Like the big funds, like there's now pension funds and retirement funds and university endowments and, big hedge funds are now buying into Bitcoin, particularly through the ETF. And so that wasn't the case in all these prior runs. It was all just individuals before. So now we have these giant pools of money that make very long-term moves, like the Wisconsin retirement system, the second biggest in the U.S., has bought some Bitcoin through the ETF. So that to me is a difference in kind for this bull run versus the prior ones.
Okay, and the people that are now staying in it, as you put it, it's not because they just lost their password and they literally can't get out of it. Have we fixed some of those things? Like these horror stories are, you lost your password, you no longer have access to your millions of dollars in Bitcoin. Like, what about that? That's always given me some hesitancy on. It just doesn't seem like a trustworthy asset if it's so easy to lose that asset based on a password.
Well, it's a more complicated system than that, but there are now just an unbelievable number of ways to keep track of your Bitcoin, including what most people choose is just turning that over to somebody else to do. And if you have lots and lots of Bitcoin, there's very high-end custody services that you can use that will help you take care of all that. But there's also, if you want to secure it yourself, There's much more sophisticated ways of keeping track of your Bitcoin where it's harder to lose. But remember, the beauty of Bitcoin, the power of Bitcoin, what Satoshi offered to all of us actually was that self-responsibility. So for it to be a truly trustless asset, there has to be a way in which you can control it and nobody can take it away from you. Mm-hmm. But if you have that power, it also comes with some responsibility. You can't lose your keys, right? Like, that's the thing. But that is something you can't do with regular money, right? There is no way with regular money you can hold it digitally without trusting somebody else. Only, Bitcoin is the one that gave us a way to do that. And so that comes with some responsibility.
We're with Brady Dale, cryptocurrency reporter over at Axios. Brady, let's talk about the regulatory aspects and the Donald Trump election aspects of this. Does it feel like the future is bright for Bitcoin because it looks like where Donald Trump, when he enters the White House, he'll be far more receptive and his team will be far more receptive to cryptocurrency than was the case in the past?
Well, I've always thought the future was bright for Bitcoin. I mean, this whole year, it's been going up even before it looked likely that Donald Trump would win. But yeah, I mean, this is the first presidential candidate that or now elected president, that we've ever had who's even mentioned Bitcoin, really. I mean, I don't think Kamala Harris actually ever said the word Bitcoin. She said cryptocurrency a few times. So yeah, he's very enthusiastic about the industry. He wants to see it grow. He now sees it as a group of allies. So, yeah, the next 4 years look very good, and it looks like an excellent chance for Bitcoin to really cement itself in the United States, which is a good place for it to be.
And Brady, on that cementing, right, and we use the term Bitcoin, right, which is a type of cryptocurrency, and then we also talk about crypto in general. Is like looking forward, will it be like a plethora of different cryptocurrency options and Bitcoin will be one of them? Or does it seem like Bitcoin is cementing its place as the de facto cryptocurrency?
I think it cemented its place as the de facto cryptocurrency a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is playing for second and third. There are lots of other cryptocurrencies. I think many of them will be important in various niche ways in the future. But it's hard for me to imagine a world in which Bitcoin doesn't stay number one forever. It's the GE of cryptocurrency.
What do you think about all these meme coins, right? These cryptocurrencies that come out sort of fly by night. I see the Hawktua girl, sorry if I'm not even saying that right, released a crypto coin this week. Like that's where I get skittish on cryptocurrency, is when I see all of these things come out of nowhere. What's your take on that?
Well, I think most people, unless you want to stare at a computer screen all day, should completely avoid meme coins. That's for people who really love trading. But I think meme coins are kind of cool in a way. I think Dogecoin is a brilliant cryptocurrency. I think it proved that ideas have values, and if groups of people collaborate around an idea, they can grow the value. So, Bitcoin's the original cryptocurrency. Dogecoin's the original meme coin. I think meme coins are fun for a certain kind of investor, but for most people, unless you really think trading and watching charts all day is fun, just stay away from meme coins. They're just too unpredictable. There's too much manipulation, but they're great for a certain category of trader, but they're not for most folks.
Brady, is there a facet to this story that we haven't touched on, something that you think our listeners should hear today?
Well, I think the thing that's going to be interesting to watch going forward, and this kind of moves over to the other big cryptocurrency network, Ethereum, I just think this idea of an open financial system where there's no secrets is going to be more and more important going forward. We've already seen a lot of that played around with in the last few years. I think that's going to come back in the next boom, and I think people are going to find it exciting. It's a different way of lending money. It's a different way of making money. It's a format where no one can hide things from you. So I think the world is going to get more and more interested in that over time, but that's going to take a while. It's weird stuff.
Brady, listen, thanks so much for coming on the program. I had the opportunity a month ago to visit the U.S., and I went to the Axios offices in Virginia, and it was a real fun part of my trip. So thanks to you, and thanks to the great team over there at Axios.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a great one.
Brady Dale is a cryptocurrency reporter over at Axios, and the author, if you want to read a great book on cryptocurrency, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, How the FTX Bankruptcy Unwound Crypto's Very Bad Good Guy.